Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome to my channel, Earth Angel Tarot. And in today's Isis Unveil reading, we are going to be opening up Pandora's box, okay? And so, what we are going to be doing is taking a look at what things are subconsciously affecting your reality, all right? What things you thought you swept under the rug, what things you thought you healed from, what things are still lingering beneath the surface, okay, that needs to be brought up to the light in order for you to truly heal, all right? So, yes, opening up Pandora's box to see what those things are. And these are the three images for the reading. So, go ahead and take a look and see which one of these images calls out to you the most, which one you feel like you truly resonate with the most, and whichever image that is, that will be the pile that will have messages in it for you. Okay. All right. So happy picking. Hello to those of you who chose pile number one. And so this is the image you felt mostly drawn to. All right. And so now we are going to open up Pandora's box for you all, pile number one, and we are going to see what subconscious blockages you have, what subconscious things are affecting your everyday reality, okay? So that we can bring those things to the surface in order for you to be able to heal through that, okay? Whatever that may be. All right. So as you can see, I have already pre-pulled your oracle messages, so we'll go ahead and get started with those and see what messages came up for you all. All right, and you guys have needing to heal an inferiority wound. Okay, I just got needing to always feel in charge and in control. All right, that's just what came up. But let's take a look and see what the message says. Okay, and it says will show up as feelings of inadequacy, self doubt, or a constant need to prove oneself. This wound may manifest as fear or failure, comparing oneself to others, or avoiding challenges due to the belief that you're not good enough or worthy of success. All right. Yes. So, and this is just what I was saying, like how in the message right here it says a constant need to prove oneself. So you may be someone who has, I'm getting control issues, okay, around this inferiority wound, okay, and you do that in order to cover up your low self-esteem, all right, in order to cover up your flaws, in order to cover up just not feeling adequate enough. All right. So you're someone who likes to put on, I'm getting put on the show, but also to hide behind the mask, right? And so you like to show up as someone who has control or who wants to have control because of the subconscious feeling of being or of feeling inferior, right? And so this is what you need to address. Okay, this is something that you can no longer hide behind. All right, it's what beautiful beloved mother goddess Isis wants you to know. You can no longer hide behind this wound. All right, so it's time for you to step up and recognize about yourself the strength that you have in order to move forward, okay, and not draw off of or pull off of others' strength. All right. So I'm getting like you may be someone who is, I'm getting parental figure, right? Someone who wants to be completely in charge of their child's life. So either you're a parent that's like that, or you're a child who has a parent like that. So it can resonate in either form. Okay, so either you're a parent that always wants to control your child's life because you feel like that's the only area where you have some substance, right, when it comes to control, because maybe in other areas of your life you're kind of at the lower half of the totem pole, right, the bottom half of the totem pole. So in the one area where you do have control, which would be with your children, this is where you show up at more so aggressively, right? And it's because of the lack of control you have in other areas of your life. All right. And for those of you who are the child or daughter, son in the situation, and you have a parent who is like this could be why you feel inferior, right? Because you've never really had the space or place to make your own choices or to stand up for yourself or do things for yourself because of your decisions and choices always being have been made for you. All right. And so this is where it's time for you to step back into your power. Power number one, to step out of that inferiority wound, right, and really gain access to why it is that that wound even exists. Like what happened in your life to make you feel small, to make you feel little, to make you feel inferior, all right, to make you feel not worthy. All right, this is what needs to be brought to the surface, okay? Because whatever that was that may have caused you to be in the state of mind that you are now, um, it obviously would have been something that has been tucked away, right, or shoved underneath the rug, and you continue to live on like your day to day, not realizing that ultimately that thing is still having control over you in different aspects of how you think and behave in the present moment. All right, and you guys have uncle shadow in the family. All right. And it says, whether he was the black sheep or the one who hid behind charm and entitlement, his presence taught you that silence enables harm. The lesson sometimes, the real danger isn't the person in question, but the family that protects them. Yes. And so this ties in with this inferiority rule, right? Someone whose voice wasn't heard. Okay. Someone who maybe was even silenced. Okay. Silenced by an uncle based on some type of wrongdoing. All right. So, and not only so, and I'm also getting to, you could be the uncle in the family. Okay. This could be, you could be the uncle in the family who's considered the black sheep, right? Um, who's considered inferior, right? So maybe you come from a family where everyone else has been successful in their endeavors or whatever it is that they wanted to pursue in life, and you were kind of like the outcast because you didn't live up to someone else's standards. All right, you didn't live up to someone else's standards. All right, so you could be, there's a couple of different energies coming through here. So you could be that person, okay, the uncle of the family, or this could be the uncle, someone's uncle in the family could be the one who made you, who caused this inferiority wound, right? Always belittling you, always saying you're not living up to the standards of what the family, quote unquote, expectations are. Okay. Or you could be just someone who has experienced some wrongdoings from an uncle in a family, and it never really went anywhere in regards to closure because your voice was silenced. Okay, no one wanted to maybe believe you. Okay, for those of you that resonates with, or maybe they just didn't want to bring that type of light or that type of attention to whatever the situation was, for fear of being shamed, right? Or just looked at in a different light. All right. So there's a couple of different energies coming in around that. But just so you all know, the uncle is very significant. The uncle role is very significant. Okay. So, like I said, whether you are the uncle yourself and you're kind of like the black sheep because you're not living up to the family's expectations or standards, or you're the uncle, or you're the child or the niece or nephew who experienced some wrongdoings by an uncle in different shape, forms, or fashions. Okay, however that resonates for you. All right, whatever it is, it needs to be brought to the surface. Okay, because it's caused you to crawl into a cave and to not feel superior about yourself. It's with this inferiority wound showing up. It has caused you to lack this essence of self that allows you to really take hold and grasp of who you are on a deeper level. All right. All right. And it says, Next card is I need you to depend on me. All right. And it says your independence threatens my sense of superiority. Yes. Oh my gosh. This aligns so perfectly. And this is just like what I was saying. Like some of you guys have control issues um, in certain areas of your life because you don't have control over all aspects of your life. So that one area where you do have the upper hand, this is where you take advantage of. Okay, so I'm also being drawn to um, recognize too that how I was mentioning earlier, this could be in a family dynamic as far as a parent controlling their children. I also just got that this could be for a job dynamic as well. Okay, so maybe you are an overpowering boss or overpowering manager, someone with some type of leadership responsibility, right? And you just take it to the next level because of your lack of control in other areas of your life. Okay, so you're that boss or that manager that no one likes. Okay. So just throwing it out there. Okay. They may smile in your face in your presence, but overall, you are not a likable person. Okay. So whoever that resonates with, and it's because you try to rule with control and power rather than from passion and understanding. All right. You're ruling with control and power instead of passion and understanding. All right. And so this is because of there's been some wrongdoings to you in your life, in some area of your life, that caused you to feel inferior. So that one moment or that one chance or instance that came up that allows you to showcase some form of power, you took hold of it. You took hold of it, but not in the best and good way. Okay, as the card says, your independence threatens my sense of superiority, right? So you need to feel in control. You need to feel in charge. All right. This is what your issue is. You need to have that sense of power around you. And in order for you to truly see and fully understand why this is going to cause for you to step into your shadow self. Okay. Dig up those things that you buried, all right, that is causing you to behave and act in such a way. Pal number one. All right. And then you guys have prejudice. And this is so fitting because I was just remember talking about like the black sheep of the family with the uncle card here, right? And then look at this here. We have the prejudice card showing up. And I just got you're just someone who's not fair. All right, you're not fair. And this is all stemming from pal number one, just like your lack of self confidence. And this is something that you really, really need to address. Okay, you really need to heal this inferiority wound. Okay, because it's showing up in a way that is just um, it's not very likable. Okay, it's not very likable, and at the same time it's just a cover up. Okay, you're covering up your true feelings and your true true hurts, like true past hurts. You're not allowing them to breathe. You're not allowing them to exit. All right, and part of life lessons, okay, is us understanding what our karmic patterns are, what our karmic behaviors are, so that we can come down here and fix them, okay, and remove ourselves from the karmic loop, the karmic cycle. All right, so as difficult and as hard as it may be, you know, pal number one, it is something that you're going to have to address. All right, these are things that you're going to have to address because right now I'm getting someone who's very judgmental, someone who's prejudiced in a sense, right, and who leads with the iron fist. I also just got, and it's because of you feeling left out. Okay, and at one point in your life, pound number one, this was you. All right, this was you, and you weren't able to be over here with the rest, right? And so now what you've done is you've taken ownership of being this person, but not in a good way, right? So now you're going to take that out on other people. right? You're going to take that out on other people. So it's just as to say, just as you were outcasted, so are you going to outcast others, okay? And you're doing it in a way or in a form of a power trip, right? Having wanting to have full control and having this power trip because of your own insecurities, all right? And you guys have passed, you were taught not to cry. Now you are aware that expressing sadness by crying is healthy and healing. And yes, I feel like this is what you all need to do. Power number one. And this goes back to what I was saying to earlier. Like, you may have been silenced, right? You may have been silenced and told to toughen up in different areas of your life growing up, okay? Depending on whatever the circumstance or the situation was. You may have not been allowed to really live your inner child or your inner self, right? Because of the type of environment you grew up in. So you may, like I said, been someone who was always told to toughen up when times got hard. All right, you don't let your soft side show. Okay, and now part of your healing, pal number one, is going to allow yourself to express whatever sadness is lingering, okay? And let that be by crying, okay? Let that be by venting. Let that be by, however you feel like you need to exert that energy. Let that show up for you in that way, all right? Because it's all your behaviors. I'm just kidding, pal number one. It's all just a cover up. All right. It's all just a cover up to make yourself seem bigger than what you are to the outside world because you've already at some point been, I don't even know why the word badish, but you've been made to be somewhat small, okay, at some point in your life. And so now you don't want that to showcase in your adult version of life or at this point in your life. So it's a cover up how you portray that you really have control over things when in actuality you don't. Okay, because the real thing that you need to get control over right now, power number one, are your emotions. Okay, are your emotional wounds. Okay, allow yourself to vent, to let it out, to cry, to face what that is, so that you can realize that you don't have to force yourself to be in control of others when you have control over yourself. All right, so this is the angle that you need to work from, learning to gain control over yourself. All right, that's what's most important for you at this time. Learning to stop self sabotaging, all right, and gaining control over who you are on a physical and a soul level. Okay, it's what I'm getting. All right, and then you have the higher you vibe, the more you shape your environment. The lower you vibe, the more your environment shapes you. Yes, and this is just you stepping out of that energy. All right, pal number one. This is you stepping out of whatever that energy that is. All right. And it says, don't let your ice cream melt while you're busy counting someone else's sprinkles. Yes, this is all about focusing on you at this time, raising your vibration, stepping out of this energy here and into more of a positive, loving, light energy. All right. And so now we're going to take a look and see what tarot messages the beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis has for you in regards to the rest of the reading. All right, so thank you, beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What else does Pal One need to know in regards to coming out of this energy? Okay. Yes, so this is you. It's like you guys are really just like I feel like you're putting on a show, Pal number one. Okay, and it's not for self. I feel like it's for everyone else. All right. You guys have the Ace of Wands. So this is saying that you guys have so much true potential. All right, one that comes from a place of passion. Like I feel like this, but I feel like this is what's been buried. Okay, this is what's been buried inside of you, is you not really being able to step into this passionate, loving, caring type of energy, right? Where you're leading from is not a healthy place, all right? You guys have the Queen of Pentacles. Yes, so much abundance and so much potential. So much abundance and so much potential, so much passion in you guys. But you need to revamp yourself. Okay, is what I'm getting. The Queen of Pentacles is someone who's very nurturing, all right, but she's also very grounded. All right, so you guys need to ground your energy and serve from a more grounded place, all right, a more stable place. And I feel like with that Queen of Pentacles coming up, it's also saying that you guys are not grounded enough. All right, you're not grounded enough, and this is what you're being called to, the energy you're being called to step into. All right, grounding your energy, releasing your any emotional ties that is keeping you stuck, right? And then you guys also have the Nine of Wands here. All right, and the Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior. Okay, so it's like you've put up a fight, you've put in a fight, and at some point you've become tired, right? You guys have become tired, and instead of um, conforming, that's actually what I feel like you guys have done. Like you've conformed in a way that it's like you're playing the game. Okay, instead of healing, you're like just it's like a chameleon. You're just like um doing whatever you need to get through, like shaping yourself in for whatever environment, whatever situation, whatever circumstance, just to get through. Okay, so you're not necessarily like you're blinders, like you I keep getting like the mask, right? You're covering up who you really are just to fit in. All right, just because you haven't fully addressed the things that have, shaped you to be this way. All right. What else? What else do we have for pile number one? All right, and then we have the Fool. All right, with the Six of Cups. Yeah, so what I'm getting with this, guys, is that this is definitely, you guys had a very sad childhood. All right, you guys had a very sad childhood, and this is where the new opportunity, it's a new opportunity for you to start fresh and heal your inner child. Okay, because you've been through the ringer with this Nine of Wands. It's like, and I feel like it is from um, your childhood area, right? And I just feel like you've been through the ringer, and you have so much potential with this Ace of Wands and this Queen of Pentacles showing up here. You have so much potential, but you're not using it in the right way. All right, you are definitely in control in some area of your life, whether you are a parental figure or you're a manager, you're a boss of some sort. Um, there's so much like potential in you to lead in a more passionate and heartwarming way than what you're doing. All right, but it's gonna come with you addressing your inferiority wound, okay? And then I do feel like this is stemmed from um, your childhood, all right? And now it's time for a fresh start. It's time for you to end that inner child, okay? With the Six of Cups here, the Six of Cups is the card of um, childhood memories, all right? Nostalgia, like just being in that space of inner child healing. All right, this is what needs to happen. All right, you need to give yourself a fresh start. All right, because for a while I feel like you've been that chameleon, just kind of shape shifting your way through life. All right, comparing yourself to others and not really focusing on self to where you can fully heal from whatever it is that you need to heal from in order to raise and lift your vibration. All right. All right, so that is what I have for you today, my beautiful pal number one. Really hope you enjoy. If so, please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. And until next time, my loves, take care and bye bye. Hello to those of you who chose pile number 2. And so this is the image that you all chose. All right, and so now we're going to go ahead and take a look at what messages have come out for you as we're opening up Pandora's box. See what things are subconsciously affecting your reality. All right, and so these are the pre pulled messages that I have pulled for you. So we'll start with those and then we'll end with some tarot. Okay, so the first card you have here is needing to focus on shadow work. All right. And it says will show up as recurring emotional triggers, unresolved conflicts, or behaviors that feel out of control or misaligned with your true self. It may manifest as unexplained anger, fear, or shame, repressed emotions, or patterns of self criticism, showing that there are hidden aspects of yourself that need to be brought into the light to heal and integrate. All right, needing to focus on shadow work. Yes, yes, yes. Pal number 2. And this is all about addressing the dark night of the soul, right? Just really meeting with and addressing things head on. All right. No longer hiding behind the veil, no longer hiding behind the mask, right? Really just pulling to the surface. Pile number 2, pulling to the surface why you are who you are today. Okay. And that's in any way that that shows up, right? Why you are who you are emotionally, why you are who you are physically, why you are who you are mentally, right? Why do you possess certain behavior patterns? Why are you so easily triggered with certain things? This is pulling everything to the surface, okay? Pal number 2, this is the work that you need to do. This is the work you need to work on. It's pulling everything to the surface. And it's very interesting, actually, because I believe my next reading that I have lined up is to do a shadow diving reading. So that should be a very, very good reading for you to tune into. Okay. Um, as of now, if things go according to plan, that reading should be scheduled for next week, next Wednesday. All right. So definitely keep that in mind because that might tie hand in hand with what specific shadow work that you need to do. All right. Yeah. So as you can see here, right, I'm going to try to get a close up. So if you see here, it's like you can see all of the wounds behind the mirror, right? And you don't really see them as much as the mirrored image, right? So that's just to say she covers it up as much as she can so that no one can see what those wounds are. But behind the mirror, look at all of the bandages that's on her face, right? So this is who you are behind the scenes, right? So to the world, you show one person or one version of yourself, but behind the scenes, you are a very wounded person. Pile number 2. All right, there are a lot of wounds that needs to be addressed and needs to be healed in order for you to not only grow in a 3D on the physical plane, power number 2, but also for you to grow spiritually. Okay, for you to grow on a spiritual plane as well. Okay, helping your soul with the soul ascension work that needs to take place and needs to happen for soul growth. All right. And this is part of the work that you signed up for when you came down here. Like you knew all of these wounds would happen. Pound number 2. Okay, you knew these wounds would take place, and now your lesson is repairing whatever that is. Okay, whatever that is in your life, and you'll know what things that you've kind of swept away or swept under the rug, and you haven't fully addressed. You'll know what that is for each person who this resonates with, right? You'll know what thing that is. All right, so you're being called to work on that, to bring it back to the surface, okay? Bring it back to the forefront so that you can work on it and truly heal. All right. And then you have corrupt government annex. Okay. And it says the house of deceit. All right. And it says behind grand pillars and polished speeches lies a fortress built on persuasion, where justice bends to the highest bidder. Never mistake prestige for integrity. True leadership serves the interests of the people as a whole, not as a sole benefactor. All right. And this is, I feel like, tying into like what's hidden behind the surface, right? What's hidden behind the surface. And I'm getting with this is that for you, it feels almost easier to conform, okay, conform into the 3D way of being rather than to address the things that need to be addressed. All right. And I'm also getting with the corrupt government annex. Like this is part of living in the matrix. All right. This is part of living in the matrix. So easily distracted, so easily made to believe that it's okay to cover up things and to not address them. All right, so you become part of the system. Okay, you become part of, look at all of these gathered people here. You become part of the system. You become part of the lost souls group, okay, because you choose to follow their way of being, okay, thinking that it's okay to just patch things up and move along. No, true soul healing, true soul ascension in the 3D, in spiritual form, involves healing on the deepest level. Okay, it involves addressing those things that hurt us at our core, right? The most toughest and difficult things for us to acknowledge. It calls for us to address them, to heal them, so that we can move on and so that we don't get stuck, okay, with the rest of the population and the rest of the world in this loop of um, return, right? This loop of return that leads to nowhere. Okay, and it's you're being called to realize that you don't have to conform into that way of thinking and behaving or believing. All right, it's okay for you to go within, address what needs to be addressed, so that you can step out of conformity. All right. And then look at this. It says, I found myself in letting you go. Okay. And it says, releasing you gave me the freedom to rediscover who I am. And what I just honestly got with this is an old version of self. For some, I'm getting the energy of, for some, this will be relationship tied. But for the most part, this other self is what's being let go of. All right. Because even if you look at the shadow work here, there's two images of oneself. Okay, two images of oneself. So you're being called to let go of the false self, right? The one that puts on the mask and pretends that everything is okay, pretends that everything is all good, all peaches and cream, when in actuality it's not. Okay, because that's when you're going to find your true self. Okay, this is where you're going to find the freedom to rediscover who you are, that person that you hid and you put away to the side because of whatever wrongdoings, traumas, dramas that you've went through in your life. Okay, they just covered up the true essence of who you are, right? And they caused you to put on a mask for the world, all right, to fit right into the 3D, all right, to fit right into the distraction of inner healing. All right, this is also what's coming up with me with the corrupt government annex distraction. All right, the house of deceit. All right, this is what keeps souls trapped. All right, this is what keeps the souls trapped in repeated karmic patterns and repeated karmic debts because they don't know how to free themselves. All right, and part of freeing yourselves, part number two, is going to be you doing the shadow work. Okay, digging up what it is that you need to dig up that's going to help you to heal. All right, what past relationship traumas, what past family traumas, childhood, adolescent, adult, whatever this is, like really bringing it to the surface and acknowledging Okay, acknowledge it, whatever that is that causes triggers within you, that causes fears, that causes anxieties within you. All right, now is the time to release that version of yourself. Okay, acknowledge it and release it. Okay, and this is where you're going to find your true, authentic, I'm getting happy self again. All right, and so it's going to be important for you to do the inner work. All right, do the inner work so that you can have regain freedom of really discovering, rediscovering who you are. All right, and then you guys have eating disorder. All right, so some of you, yes, with this, I'm getting that some of you created, okay, different habits just to cope. All right, you created different habits just to cope. Okay, whoever that resonates with in regards to an eating disorder. Okay, but it could be any different habit that you feel like that you have took on just in order for you to cope. And I'm also being drawn back to the corrupt government annex card. That is part of right the cover up. Okay, so instead of really truly healing, we learn to adapt new patterns or new behaviors that helps us to cope with problems instead of to fully deal with them. All right. And so this is what I'm getting with this eater disorder coming up. Is that you guys have latched on to some type of coping mechanism, okay, that's helping you to bypass your emotional traumas, dramas, fears, anxieties, anger, whatever it is. You guys have picked up a different form of a coping mechanism around that, okay? And it could be an eating disorder or it could be anything else that is, whatever, like whatever bad habit that you feel like you took on just to escape reality, right? And that's part of the cover up. That's part of the distraction. Is just saying, oh, you could just put a band-aid on it. Okay. Put a band-aid on it. As you can see, she has little band-aids there, and you're good to go. All right. And then you can barely see the bandages in the mirror, but behind the scenes they're still there, which means that bandaging it doesn't work. Okay, you have to really, really go in and fix and solve the problem of whatever healing needs to take place for you. All right. All right. And then you have past is you felt abandoned. Now you show up for yourself daily and surround yourself with people who love and care for you consistently. And yeah, this is I feel like you all like really getting back to a lighter version of yourself. All right. And I even just got support group. Okay. Especially for those of you who may have experienced or may be experiencing eating disorders, right? There may be a support group around you that can offer you um, some form of support around that. Okay. But like I said, it doesn't only have to be reduced down to an eating disorder. Okay. This could be in whatever habit you feel like you've picked up. Okay. As a coping mechanism, there may be a support group around that as well. All right. Um, but okay, so I've also so remember how when I first pulled this card out, I was saying for a small portion, I found myself in letting you go. I felt like there was a small portion of that that was going to be relationship related, and I kind of like skipped past it, but I'm being drawn back to that. So this is especially with this you feeling abandoned. Um, that some of you don't have the emotional support that you need around a relationship. Okay, so for whoever that resonates with, some of you don't have the emotional support that you need around a relationship, and that could be also something that has caused you to pick up different type of coping mechanisms. Okay, so I was told to bring that back in for those who this resonates with in regards to a relationship. Even though I did feel like, for the most part, it is letting go of your other self, right? Your ego self. But for others, for a small portion, that is, it does have to do with letting go of someone in a relationship, okay? Because they leave you feeling more abandoned than loved and wanted. Okay. And so you deal with different coping mechanisms in order to work your way around that feeling. All right. But yeah, so you're being called up to show up for yourself daily and surround yourself with people who love and care for you consistently. Yes, and then it's all going to start with you first. Power number two. It's all going to start from within first. The shadow work is really, really going to be important for you to move forward. Okay, and you all know what that is for you. Okay, you all know what traumas you've been through, what dramas you've been through, what hurts you've been through. It's going to resonate for each one differently, each one of you differently, but each of you will know what that is. And so now the vow you make to yourself is healing whatever that was. Okay, healing whatever that was, coming to terms with it. Okay, coming to terms with whatever that was in order for you to heal and move forward. Okay, and also I'm getting to seek help wherever it's needed in your life around whatever coping mechanisms you're using as a cover up right now. All right, and it says if you focus on the hurt, you will continue to suffer. If you focus on the lesson, you will continue to grow. Yes, take the lesson and move on. Pound number two. This is what you're being called to do. Take the message and the lesson and move on. Okay, so whatever it is, that's also part of the shadow work. All right. Whatever it is that you have, swept under the rug and tucked away, but it's still subconsciously affecting your reality, bringing it forward, okay, so you can release and let go, and you don't have to focus on a hurt, because focusing on a hurt doesn't have to be intentional, right? It's not like you're sitting there purposely pondering over when someone hurt you, but it does take form and shape subconsciously, right? And it shows up in different ways throughout your life. Example being how you behave, right? How you're easily triggered, how you maybe feel insecure, or you doubt yourself, or you whatever the case is. Those that is the reaction of your feelings showing up subconsciously. Okay, whatever you went through that you swept under the rug, it shows up in that form, that manner, that format subconsciously, okay, through your behaviors and how you present yourself to the world. So now is the time to focus on whatever that was for you all and letting it go, right? Focus on the lesson that you were to get from it so that you can move on. All right. And then you have the only way to win with a toxic person is not to play. Yes, remove yourself from unwarranted, unwanted situations and circumstances. Okay. And this is especially tied to this corrupt government annex, right? Stepping out of the 3D, removing yourself from the toxicity around there, right? The things that keep you distracted, the things that keep you manipulated, the things that tell you it's okay when it's not okay, right? Because obviously the soul feels something different. The soul is experiencing something different and on the soul level, and they want you to incorporate that in the physical form, right? So it's okay to exit the matrix, right? To relieve yourself from feeling like you have to cover things up and fit in with society. Okay, it's okay to feel your pain, feel your emotions, because that's the way you're going to live through them and heal through them. All right. And so now we're going to take a look at what additional messages the beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis has for you, okay, in regards to opening this Pandora's box. So, what else do you have, beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis, for power number two in regards to them addressing their shadow works? All right. Okay, and you guys have the Two of Cups. And I love this because this is like making the peaceful connection, looking at yourself for who you are, addressing yourself for who you are, past traumas, past hurts, and all. Just accepting yourself for it all right? Because it's like a complete opposite, but almost same image as this, right? Reflection, okay? Now being able to not deflect, right? Because this image is deflecting, it's off to the side. But now it's like really coming to terms and looking at your problems, looking at your inner self head on, dead on, right? And just really looking at you, the true you, for who you are. And this is a divine connection. Okay, when this shows up like this with the Two of Cups, this is a divine union, a divine connection. And I feel like that divine union and divine connection is to self. All right, is to self, because you've learned to let go of, or you're learning to let go of all the things that need to be let go that are no longer serving a purpose for you. Okay, that's keeping you binded in it instead of allowing you to live a life of freedom, because you're emotionally binded and triggered. Okay, that's what I'm getting. All right, so let's see what else we have. Yes, and I love that Two of Cups. It's just really you coming to terms with who you are. All right, no longer hiding behind the mirror, no longer hiding behind the mask. And look at this, we have the Two of Wands. All right, forward movement. All right, this is you making plans to better yourself, right? The Two of Wands is knowing that you have an option here, right? Either you could continue to wallow in your sorrow, or pretend everything is okay, or you can get the necessary help that you need in order to heal. All right, and that necessary help is going to start with you addressing what the problem is altogether. All right, putting in the work to do the shadow work. All right, the world that we live in now, they would prefer for us to just pretend that everything is okay, but because that's what keeps the soul binded to earth, right? Because then they have to return and complete these same karmic cycles, and now it's time for a new beginning with this fool showing up here. Allow yourself a fresh start. Okay, the choice to heal yourself, okay, with this Two of Wands here, that choice that you make to go down the road of healing is going to offer you a fresh opportunity. It's going to offer you a fresh beginning. Pound number 2. All right, one that's going to be filled with love and enlightenment. All right, one that's going to be filled with love, enlightenment, and freedom. All right. All right, and then we have the Four of Pentacles. All right, stability, safety, and stability. All right, and this comes from you investing in yourself, loving yourself again, um, allowing yourself to feel wanted, allowing yourself to feel nourished. All right, this is what the Four of Pentacles is, that sense of peace, right? Because you're no longer giving. All right, you're no longer giving a part of yourself away. Instead, you're going to take it all in, and you're going to love yourself for who you are. Invest in yourself, okay, to make a better version of yourself so that you can move forward and let go of all or whatever different coping mechanisms, that are in your way as a cover up. Okay, because Spirit is saying now it's time to get down to the nitty gritty. Okay, it's time to get down to the bottom of things. All right, you felt abandoned. Why did you feel abandoned? What caused you in your life to feel abandoned, for whoever that resonates with? All right, how did that show up for you then, and how is it showing up for you now? And this is an example of you working with your shadow self and doing the shadow work, addressing such things from the past that left you feeling a certain type of way, but that's showing up for you in the present time. Okay, this is how you heal from that, and how you invest into yourself. All right. So, and yes, be tuned, pound number 2, especially for next week's reading, because I'm almost 100% sure that it is going to be on the shadow work, shadow diving. Okay, so that may be a really good one for you to tune into. All right, so that is all I have for you, my beautiful pal number two. Really hope you enjoyed. If so, please be sure to like, share, comment, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, my loves, take care and bye bye. Hello to those of you who chose pal number three. And so this is the image that you felt mostly drawn to. All right, and so now we're going to go ahead and take a look, open up Pandora's box, and see what things are subconsciously affecting your reality. All right, and so these are the pre-pulled oracle messages that I have. We'll start with those, and then we will end with some tarot. All right, so and you guys actually received more cards um, when I was pulling for this pal, so you guys got a couple extra cards that came out. But let's see what we have. All right. And you guys have needed to heal from karmic blockages. All right. And I just got some of you are not getting or learning from the lesson. Okay. And this, before I even read the card, this may show up as repeated patterns in your life. Okay. So if you're one of those people where things never quite seem to work out, or you always find yourself in the same type of scenarios, situations, or whatever the case may be, it's because you're not learning the lesson from the karmic cycle. All right. You're not learning whatever lesson that is that you're supposed to get from that. All right, which is going to cause karmic blockages. Okay. So now let's read what the message says. And it says, will show up as repeated patterns of struggle, conflict, or unhealed emotional wounds that seem to follow you from one lifetime to the next. They may manifest as recurring challenges in relationships, career, or personal growth, where it feels like you are caught in a cycle that you can't break. Yes, so this is exactly what I was just saying, pal number three. You guys are in a karmic cycle, okay, in this lifetime um, that you were meant to wrap up in this lifetime, is what I'm getting. But you guys are not picking up the message. You guys are not learning the lesson that is meant to be learned from it. Okay, so this is where it's going to really call for you to reevaluate your life. Okay, those patterns that keep showing up, whether they're unhealthy patterns, unpleasant patterns, whatever patterns that you yourself notice shows up for you all the time, pound number three. Now it's time to really reevaluate that pattern and figure out what the lesson is from that. Okay, what is it that what is the takeaway from that pattern? What are you not seeing? What are you not missing? What are you missing? I'm sorry, in regards to this pattern that shows up. And that could be, in regards to your love life, relationships, your job, career, family, whatever the case is for you. Now it's time to dissect. All right, it's what I'm being told. Pound number three. It is time for you all to dissect the nature of the problem. Okay, it's time for you all to dissect the nature of the problem because you need to heal this karmic blockage in this lifetime. All right, so if things are not going right for you and it's like the same old repeating thing, and you just can't seem, as the card says, can't seem to break away from it, now it's time to stop, pause, and reflect. Okay, stop, pause, and reflect on why does this same repeated pattern keep showing up for you in your life. All right. All right, and you guys have aunt. Okay, and it says two-faced guardian. Okay, and it's so funny because pal number one actually got uncle. All right, and you guys have aunt. And it says she played both protector and poison, offering comfort with one hand while stirring chaos with the other. From her, you learn that family loyalty is often just another word for generational curse. All right, and it's so fitting with that coming up, especially with it saying generational curse here at the end, because that ties into karmic blockages. All right, so your aunt may have, maybe some of you were raised by your aunt, okay, or maybe as in pile number one, I was getting maybe your aunt. Well, in their case, it was the uncle, but in your case, maybe your aunt is the black sheep of the family, right? Because of many wrongdoings that she's done, or um, mishaps, or I got misrepresentation of the family, right? So maybe your aunt plays a role in your family dynamic in that way. Okay, but in another way, maybe some of you were raised by your aunt and she could have like bestowed upon you like wrong wrong thinking patterns, wrong behavior patterns, that kind of led you down the road of doing things that leads to continuous downfalls. All right, and so this could be someone who kind of showed you the ropes in that sense for those who it resonates with. All right, but either way, there's some. I feel like there's some type of karmic bond between whoever this resonates with, you and an aunt, and you will know if this resonates with you what role that aunt has played for you in your past upbringing up until now. Okay, and where you could probably see some of the faults and um, in her that you may see in yourself at this time. All right. And then you guys have, I rewrite history to protect my image. Okay, and it says, I alter the past so you question your memory, leaving my version as the only reality you trust. All right, and yes, so this is definitely like how I was getting like something with the aunt in the past, right? This is you having to get out of that energy. Okay, as the card says, I rewrite history to protect my image. Okay, I altered the past so you question your memory. Okay, leaving my version as the only reality you trust. So this is just about you leaving everything else behind. Okay, leaving that past behind so that you can step into a new version of yourself. Okay, so you can like step out of this karmic loop. All right. And as you can see, like everything is on the floor here and he's bare, right? The heart's on the floor, money's on the floor, everything's on the floor. Like everything is left behind. All the past hurts, all the past wrongdoings from the past. Okay. It, it's like allowing yourself to rewrite those past hurts. Okay. Rewrite those past hurts in order so that you can could grow and move on. Okay, so that you don't have to continue to go through the same repeated patterns, the same, I'm getting conflictual patterns. Okay, there may be conflicts for some of you all because that just came through with the aunt in the family. All right, she may be the bringer of this karmic blockage. She may be the bringer of the generational curse, right? The one who had the opportunity to release, okay, the family lineage from it, but she failed her mission. All right, so now, especially if you're someone who's picked up, who has picked up on her way of being, thinking, believing, behaving, so now it's like, do you stay in that energy or do you rewrite everything that you've soaked up and absorbed? Okay, but those of you who it resonates, take it how it resonates. If this is in regards to honor your life, but yeah, so like what you absorb, do you just now it's time to you to relinquish it, right? To give it back, to give it away. Okay, so that you can rewrite the version of the past that's going to give a new version of yourself in the present. All right, and it says, your boundaries are my challenge. All right, and it says, I test limits because control gives me a sense of powers. Okay, so liken to be in control. So this is what I'm getting with this pound number three. This is you not being in sync with the universe. right? And this is too what I was saying, what I was just saying, like things have to be relinquished. And part of what has to be relinquished is a sense of control, a sense of feeling empowered. And maybe with this aunt showing up, maybe that's what some of you all dealt with, okay, in a family lineage, right? Someone who always wanted to exert, okay, exert a form of themselves just so that they can belittle other ones and feel empowered. All right. But now it's like maybe that's what you picked up on, and you're realizing now that that way of thinking, believing, behaving is not going to work out for you. It's just going to keep drawing in the same repeated patterns and cycles that leads to nowhere. All right. So it's like you like being in control, right? Because it's like the card says, it's a challenge. Okay, it gives you a sense of um, a sense of belonging, feeling, just because you feel like there's an essence of yourself that you're able to captivate others by, but it's not in the most no most resound way. All right, and so you're being called to um, step out of that need of control, relinquish your powers to the universe so that you can be with go, so that you can be with the ebb and flow, okay, of universal laws and universal practices. It's going to bring in the stability that you need. All right, and so you also have competition. Yes. And this is definitely, yes, wanting to be the one who stands out, wanting to have control over everything. Maybe with this on, I'm also getting maybe some of this was instilled, definitely instilled in you um, by an aunt figure, right? I even got like beauty pageants just came up. So always, maybe some of you have always been in competitive energy since early age, right? Put into different talent shows, pageants, sports, or whatever, right? So you have this competitive nature about yourself, just off how you were brought up. All right, and this is why it says, I rewrite history to protect my image. Like, this is what you need to reshape out of. All right, feeling like you always need to be the winner, you always need to be in control, you always need to be empowered, feel empowered, right? So this is the energy that you guys are needing to release and relinquish, right? Because this is what's going to clear up your karmic blockages. All right, that sense of always having to be the victor, right? Always having to be the one on top, always having to be the one who stands out. This is a part of yourself that you're going to realize that if you keep this way of being and thinking in terms of how life works, like always just striving for the best and wanting to be the best, you'll see that it only brings to you um, shallow opportunities. All right, shallow opportunities, and this is what you need to wake up out of. Pile number three is the shallowness of how you think. All right, and spirit wants you to go a little deeper, because your shallowness is not going to. It's just only going to keep putting you in the same situation, circumstances, and you wonder why patterns keep repeating themselves. So yes, it's clear now that you guys are meant to break out of your shallowness. All right. And then you guys have fear of change. All right. And it's fear for you, because this is with this competition, I feel like this is all you've ever known, is to be the best, to be, you know, to be known for how you look, or how your outer appearance, right? Let's just say your outer appearance overall, right? This is what you have been drawn into, is learning to live with and work from your outer appearance alone. All right. And so this, to come out of that and to lead and show from a place within, would be very like different for you, okay? Which is why this fear of change will be here, because that would mean that you will have to expose an inner part of yourself um, that you've never, maybe never even had a relationship with. You probably never had a relationship with that inner part of yourself because you've been used to living from the outside point of view, right? Materialistically, right? Competitively. Like you've been used to the outer part of self and never really got to know who you really were on the inside. Okay. And this is what the energy that you're meant to break out of, all right, with these current blockages. Okay, is stepping out uh, stepping out of the limelight. Okay, stepping out of that need to always the need to be seen. All right, stepping out of the need to be seen, the need to be on top. Okay, the need to outdo everyone else. Right, and lead from a place of love and light. Okay, and not one from a 3D the 3D version of yourself, which is mainly the ego. All right. And you have in the past you were frightened, and now you are emotionally stronger and brave. Yes, and this is perfect with this fear of change going up, because in the past you may have been afraid to live from a place of love and light, right? You were more so comfortable with living outwardly, right? Just showing people the shallow version of self. Okay. But the more you get your emotions intact and the more you get like the sense of who you are intact, then the more you'll be able to step up and step out, okay, and be stronger and be braver and live from a different aspect and perspective, okay, that's going to help you to break the current blockages, okay, that's going to help you to step out of that energy that just keeps you, that's going to essentially keep you stagnant and stuck, right? Okay, and then you have some people won't be able to love you the way you wanted them to. Compassion creates understanding. Yes, and I love how the scissors are there, because this is what this is saying, is to just cut people off as you need to. All right, and cut them off as you need to. If they're not going to be part of your healing or your inner journey or your your need or your want to move forward, then it is okay to love from a distance, right? To love from a distance and understand that, you know, some people just are not meant to, or can't even encompass, right, the full understanding of who you are, because they're not meant to get that full version of you. Okay, but it's okay to love from a distance. All right, and it says the next one is your soul knows when it's time to close a chapter. Pain comes from ignoring its guidance. Okay, and so this is, you're meant to be led, all right, led by the guidance and not ignore it. And this is what I was saying like earlier, like when things keep repeating, patterns keep repeating themselves, and things keep showing up that's, you know, not, you know, pleasant, okay, it is because like you're not learning the lesson, so the lesson has to keep showing up for you. All right. And that's what it said. Pain comes from ignoring its guidance. Pain comes from ignoring the lesson. All right. That's what makes it painful, because it's like you want to just brush past it or hope that things will get better without you putting in the work. But in all actuality, power number three, the work has to be put in order for you to move on to the next chapter. Okay, and as the card says, your soul knows when it's time to close a chapter and move on, and that's what you guys are being called to do. Okay, wrap up these current blockages. All right, and so now we're gonna pull some tarot and see what else the beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis would like you to know in regards to this reading. All right, so thank you, beautiful beloved Mother Goddess Isis. What else would you like for pound number three to know in regards to their Pandora box? All right. And we have the Eight of Wands. Yes, it is time to move forward. Pound number three. It is time to accelerate. Okay, it is time for you to flourish beyond your limitations. Okay, beyond your current blockages. All right, because you guys, I feel like yourself has been keeping yourself limited, right? Like keeping yourself in this box because you're so limited on, like, shallow. Like I was saying, I feel like there's a lot of shallowness in this group that doesn't allow for you all to venture out beyond the veil, right? And really live from a place of within, okay? And so now it's time for you guys to exceed past that point of understanding, all right? Exceed past that point of understanding so that you guys can prosper, okay? So that you guys can grow in strength and not in fear, all right? What else for the beautiful pile number 3? What else do they need to know in regards to their Pandora's box being open? Yeah, I feel like you guys definitely, there's a lot of humbling, that needs to take place for this pile. All right, and you guys have judgment here. Yes, answering the call in this lifetime, pile number 3. All right. Closing up these karmic cycles and these karmic blockages in this lifetime, okay, with this judgment card coming up. Um, you guys are meant to address this karmic blockage, this karmic cycle, head on, and learn to live from a place of inner peace, all right? And learn to live from a place within, okay, and let down your guard and not feel like how you were raised or how you were brought up is, the end all be all right? You have a choice to make, okay? The Two of Wands, with the moon card showing up here, to walk into the unknown, to walk into the change, okay? You have a decision to make as far as which path do you walk into. Do you continue to stay in your karmic cycle and keep having these repeating, recurring things show up for you, or do you break it? Do you reevaluate it and look at what the lesson is from it so that you can move on? Okay, so that you can move to the next chapter and not have to keep going through the same chapter over and over again. All right. This is the choice you have. All right. Spirit is warning you to answer the call because this current blockage is meant to be resolved in this lifetime. Okay. So get used to the uneasy feeling. Okay. It's what I'm getting with this moon being here. The unknown, like just really adapting to that version of yourself that you haven't had the chance to know, learn, or grow with, right? Because I feel like you guys have been put in, for whoever this resonates with, like you've been put in this you've been put in situations or environments where you were kind of like meant to lead from a place of let's just say materialistic living, right? And not inner living, right? So it's like very, very shallow type energy that comes up with that, all right? And so now you're being called to get to know who the real version of you are, okay, or is, okay, and not that shallow version of yourself where you were put on this pedestal growing up, and so you were always, everything was always material or 3D, right? Nothing had to do with emotions or feelings or none of that because everything was always for show, is what I'm getting. And so now you're with this Fool card coming up. You're being called to really step within and get to know who the real you are. Okay, so you can break the karmic cycle and break the karmic repeated patterns that keep showing up for you in your life and move forward. Okay. And I'm getting, I just told it's going to be very eye opening for you. Okay. Pound number 3. All right, my loves, that is all I have for you. Really hope you enjoy. If so, please be sure to like, share, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. And until next time, my loves, take care and bye bye.